Hey, this is Dr. Todd. Let's talk about how to strengthen your relationship with your kids. I am a parent just like you, and it's not always easy to maintain a strong relationship with our kids. It's definitely worth it. In this video, I'm going to share some of my best tips with you that help me build stronger relationship with my own children. So let's get started. Here's a few things I've learned as I've tried to strengthen my relationship with my kids. First, let them learn about you. A while ago, I took my daughter on a bike ride. So my mom died a few years ago, and where she's buried is pretty close to where we live, and I like to go over there and visit periodically. So now with my daughter, we decided to take a bike ride to the cemetery and visit her grandma. And I didn't necessarily intend to do this, but when we were there, we just started naturally talking about my mom and what my relationship was like with her. I love my mom, and I had a really special relationship with her. And Katie, my daughter who was with me, was surprisingly interested in learning all these things about me. Like, I guess I had never told her some of these things. And so we were sitting there and she was asking me all kinds of questions and just sort of learning about me. And she was learning about my mom and I. That was really interesting to her. And then Katie started holding my hand while we were talking, and it was turned into being one of these really neat little moments that I had with my daughter. And that experience reminds me a lot. There's so many kids I've talked with over the years who have told me, I don't really know my mom, I don't really know my dad, or I wish I knew more details about my mom or my dad's lives. Like, your kids want to know. I've had really many kids tell me this over the years. I think what they're really telling me without realizing it is that they're wishing for more intimacy in their relationships with their parents. So talk to your kids about your lives. Share your personal stories. In appropriate ways, share intimate details that would be interesting for them to hear about you. Just let them learn about you. A second and rather unusual way of building a strong relationship with your kids, believe it or not, is to allow yourself to be vulnerable. That sounds surprising to some of you. I'm going to give you a really personal example of this. I'm not going to give you all the details. But several years ago, I went through an experience that was deeply traumatic for me. And some of it was my own doing. And I had created this problem. And it was something that I was not really proud of. And it caused me a lot of grief for a long time. It was one of those life-changing, gut-wrenching experiences. And I decided eventually that it was important for me to talk about this experience with my kids, but they had to be at the appropriate ages and it had to be done in the right way. But I felt strongly that it was something I wanted them to know about me. One of my worries, though, is I worried that if I told them this, that it would make them disappointed in me, like they would think less of me. And what has surprised me now, with each of my 4 kids, I've done this. The reaction that I got has been the same. It was the opposite of what I worried about. It sort of created this little magic of bringing us closer together. My oldest daughter has often actually told me that sharing with her my weaknesses has often made her feel normal, and has given her hope that she could overcome her own weaknesses because she's seen me do that. Vulnerability is a gift that you give someone, and it has to be done in an appropriate way at an appropriate time and when they are mature enough to receive it. But I can tell you that by being this way and sharing these things, that has brought about great closeness with my kids. Thank you for watching this video. Do you also struggle with communicating with your kids or connecting with them in ways that are meaningful? You know, none of us are given a manual when our kids are born knowing how to do all these things. We learn by trial and error, but that's what this channel is all about. I've created this channel, which is about my system of correcting and connecting so that you can build strong, trusting, influential relationships with your kids. If that's the kind of thing that interests you, then like this video, subscribe to my channel, and share this with your friends. All right, now let's get back to talking about how to build strong relationships with your kids. The last idea is to create daily or frequent rituals of connection. This is what I call it, rituals of connection. These are just small little things that you do on a regular basis with them. You know, for little kids, it might just mean you tucking them in at night, or you're warmly waking them up in the morning, or you're making them breakfast, or you read them a story at night. My son, when he was younger, used to love to come climb in bed and we would read Diary of a Wimpy Kid. And both of us would crack up while we're reading these funny stories. And he would just lay down there. It would just be a few minutes every night, but it would be this little moment, this little ritual of connection that we had. Now he's older, he'd rather me come out and shoot hoops with him, so we play basketball. And sometimes, honestly, I'm busy, it's not convenient, I'd rather be doing other things. But just a couple of minutes, we'll go out and play for just a couple of minutes. These little moments of connection will build, and over the course of your kids' lives, this will build really deep connections with them. So in summary, to build a stronger relationship with your kids, first, let them learn more about you. Next, be vulnerable with them. And finally, create daily rituals or frequent rituals of connection with them. These little connections don't have to be big, just regular. Here's a few more things you might want to consider, and I'd strongly suggest that you do a few of these right away. These are just some ideas, right? Give a genuine compliment to your child at least once a day. It has to be genuine. You can look at your daughter directly in the eyes and ask her how her day went. If she gives you the standard one-word response, fine, then you can smile warmly and say great. If she tells you more about her day, then consider that gold and give her 100% of your attention. Like this is the most important thing you've heard all day long. Go into your son's room at night and just tell him you love him. While you're there, ask him if you can make him something to eat for breakfast in the morning. Just one small connection can lead to another. Another idea, I've done this. Leave a sticky note on your daughter's mirror in the morning that says, "World's greatest daughter, I love you." Send a text message to your daughter. Maybe if you've been having fights lately, you can say, "I know we've been fighting a lot. I hate fighting with you, and I want you to know that no matter what, I always love you." Maybe your son excitedly wants to tell you about his latest interest, something that you have absolutely zero interest in. Well, by the way you react to him, he would never guess that because you sit down and you listen intently and he thinks you must be interested in it too. You look him in the eyes, you ask questions about it. Are you looking for more effective ways to connect with your kids and build long-term positive influence? Maybe your child is misbehaving or going through a difficult phase and you're just struggling to know how to deal with it or even how to reach them at all. My name is Dr. Todd Corelli, and I've spent the last 25 years as a clinical psychologist working primarily with children, adolescents, young adults, and their families. I've worked with thousands and thousands of families across the globe over this time, and I've seen the challenges that are facing families. That is why I've created a 4-part video series that is completely free to watch, and it's available right now for you to view. This video series helps parents become much more effective at bonding with their kids and positively influencing them. I've seen this system benefit my own family and so many others, and I want your family to have this too. Just go to the link in the video description below, or you can go to correctandconnect.com. Enter your details, click the button, and I'll give you immediate access.